Welcome everyone to week 6. This is the thrilling week of legal structure and taxes. I, for one, love the content this week. Uh, I will admit that most students vary widely in their response and either really enjoy this week or find it a little on the more boring side. But hopefully I can excite you into seeing why this week is not only very important, but also very interesting. So we'll go through legal structures of businesses, and then we'll talk about licenses and taxes a little bit. As a reminder, your project 2 is due this week. So this is like project 1, a little bit more time intensive. If you're watching this and realizing you haven't started on that, please start right away so that you don't get caught up doing too much at the last minute. Let's jump into this first assignment. For your legal structure assignment, you will go through and look at the different business structures available here. I will walk you through those in just a moment. If you're in the United States. If you are outside the United States, go ahead and do your independent research on the legal structure in your countries, and then describe which one you'll choose. I've noticed over the years that they align somewhat closely with these that we'll walk through here on hg.org. But really your assignment will be to write just a brief essay that describes in your location which legal structure works best for your business, why, and then how would you set that up. That's really the question. That second question will require your own research. It may be a phone call to your local government office, but you'll need to include some information on how you would set that up. There's some guidance down here specifically for those in Idaho, where the college is. There's just some examples you can look through. But I will show you what's available here on hg.org. It gives a really simple overview. If you click that link, you'll get just a simple overview of legal structures here. And there are 4 main legal structures you'll focus on. There's many more than these available, but these are the basic ones that are realistic for someone just starting their own business. A sole proprietor, that is the most common form of small business. This is you taking taking charge of everything. This is sole proprietor means you alone own the business. You get to make all the decisions. That's the advantage. You get full control over the business is the advantage. The downside, the negative to that, is that you are the most exposed of any legal structure legally, meaning your personal assets are considered part of the company. And so if a sole proprietor is sued, it is not uncommon for that lawsuit, if lost, to include personal assets. It's really hard to distinguish and say this is the my business assets and monies, and that's available in the lawsuit. This is my personal. This is my home. That's not available. That's really hard to do in a sole proprietorship, and that's what it means when it says it offers the least protection to the business owner, is that personal assets can be at risk. Partnership is exactly the same as a sole proprietorship, except that it includes 2 or more people. It can be very simply written down, agreed upon, signed. It doesn't take much to form a legal partnership. And again, the advantage is, according to the agreement, partners make the decisions. This can be 60-40, senior junior partner. It can be 50-50. It can be 25% ownership. You can have as many partners as you want. But the idea is the same: full control over the company, but personal assets could be at risk. corporations, I won't go very far into these because they can get pretty complex for what we're doing in this class. S Corp and C Corp have certain tax advantages. If that's of interest to you, go ahead and do your own research, but it is a little bit more complex to set up. And then finally, limited liability companies and LLC. These are extremely common, and the pros and cons to an LLC, the advantage is it's pretty simple to set up, and it provides protection to the business owner. And so it distinguishes between the business assets and the personal assets of the business owner. That's why LLCs are very, very common, and that's what it means when they say limited liability. And so if someone is doing business with that company, they know if in the end they want to bring a lawsuit, the business owner has limited liability, limited to those business assets and not personal assets. The downside is you give up some control over the company, depending on the specific regulations in your locale. You'd have to eventually, if the company got big enough, form a board, and would have to work with that board. That board could, in the end, eventually oust the business owner from the company. You've seen some more famous examples of this, not necessarily within an LLC, but if you take Apple, for example, and Steve Jobs formed the company and then got kicked out of the company before coming back to it. And so there's some loss of control there in the company, but it does provide some protection. And in most locales, they're very simple to set up. So those are the four basic business structures. There's others. There's nonprofits, which we won't go into just because, again, those are fairly complex. Feel free to do additional research on those if you'd like to expand past these, but those are just kind of the basic ones that we can consider for our purposes of the course. The next topic is licenses and taxes. This assignment will require a little bit more legwork on your part just because these will vary so much state to state, city to city, country to country, territory to territory. They're very different. And so you'll need to do your own research on what licenses and taxes will be required in your location. I would encourage you to use the obvious resource is the government website of your locale. I would not overlook actually reaching out to them. Most local governments, especially on the state government level, are incentivized to bring in business into their area because that increases their tax revenue. And so most will want businesses to come and will make the information at least readily available to understand what's required. And so don't hesitate to reach out because most local governments will have individuals set aside who can answer questions or a process to answer these questions relatively easily. So your assignment will be to explain if you'll need any licenses or any specific licenses to start your business. Explain how you came to that conclusion, and then provide any references, typically the URLs, how you gathered that information. And please make sure your document is at least 125 words. That will be it for your licenses and taxes assignment. So not a lot of extra work as far as quantify and compare spreadsheets, things like that. I think the actual submission isn't too long this week, but it does require a lot of legwork and research on your part. Please reach out if you've got questions on these or if I can help answer any questions on this. I think there's a good disclaimer here on the legal structure assignment. There's no formal legal advice given in this class, but happy to help you research and get to the right answer if possible. Thanks, everyone.